Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Serie A pack that's currently available on eFootball. I've already done reviews of the English and Spanish League packs. Those went up on the channel over the last couple of days, so those are there if you want to take a look at them. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So, let's have a look at the players. We start with Milinković-Savić, so our goalkeeper. The good news is he's huge. He's about 6'6" or 6'7" even. Good reach as well, so he's going to cover a lot of his goal. But the bad news is he's not very good. His awareness 82, reflexes 81. The question is, to what extent does his size and reach compensate for the fact that his awareness and reflexes aren't great? For me personally, I don't think he's that good overall. I think his size is great, but there's only so much that will do for you as a keeper. You need good awareness, you need good reflexes, and he has neither. So, yeah, ultimately for me, I mean, if you've got a squad of players with beards, he might be a fun one. He's got a good beard, but beyond that, not a great keeper, sadly for me. And then we have Bijol. Probably said that wrong. So we've got a centre back, build-up playing style, 6'3". He's got some strengths. The two that stand out, obviously, defensive awareness 92 is great. Physical contact 90 is great. The rest of his defensives are strong. They're not amazing, especially engagement 86 would like it to be a bit higher, but on the whole, he is strong with his defensive attributes. Pace is a concern. Both speed and acceleration in the 60s. That's not great. Jumping 82 is not brilliant, but he's 6'3". And you look down here, he does have aerial superiority, so he's not going to be bad in the air. He'll be decent in the air, heading as well. In terms of the rest of his skills, though, man marking, blocker, sliding tackle, okay, some good skills there, but no interception. That's a crucial one for a centre-back, so you can rectify that. You can put skills on him, so you could give him interception if you're going to get this guy and use him a lot. But the lack of pace, the lack of interception, the fact that outside of the thing is, if you discount that defensive awareness and physical contact, you take both of those out of the equation, you've pretty much got a 3-star centre back. The rest of his attributes aren't great, and he is lacking in pace. So, with that in mind, and the fact he's lacking interception skill, I can't really recommend this guy. I think if you're an Udinese fan, sure, you're going to want to get him. I imagine it's, you'd naturally want to pick him up. But if you're not, then, like I say, the lack of pace and the fact he's only really got 2 outstanding attributes and he's not got the interception skill. He does have some strengths, but on the whole, I don't think this is a great centre-back card. Then we have a striker, Azmoun. So I've been using this guy for years, to be honest. I used him on Pez in the My Club days. I've got his 3-star base card on eFootball. I like him. He's a bit of an all-rounder. What's good with this guy, Azmoun, is that obviously you can see he's got good awareness. His finishing's decent. But with the heading 82, jump 84, and he's about 6'1", he's a guy he's a bit of an all-rounder, and he's got the goal poacher playing style with good awareness. So he's going to be quite aggressive with his forward runs. He's going to be getting into good positions, but he's good in the air as well. And there aren't that many strikers who are a goal poacher who have a decent height and they're good in the air and good from crosses. So I'm not going to say he's anywhere near as good as Osimhen, but he's in that kind of a mold where, he's not technically brilliant, he's not great on the ball, but he's got the awareness, got the finishing, and he's good in the air. Doesn't have the pace of Osimhen though. That's probably the main area Osimhen's better, but he's in that kind of a mold. Looking down at the skill set, as I mentioned with the heading and jumping, the fact he's good from crosses, he's got the heading skill, he's got acrobatic finishing, and he's got aerial superiority. So he's going to be good in the air. He's going to get on the end of crosses for you. He's got a first-time shot, which is a crucial one for strikers. And then he's got outside curve, which is nice. Some other decent skills, nothing amazing. But yeah, my main concern in terms of his attributes on the ball is a little bit lacking. For me personally, I'd maybe nick a couple from dexterity. Then he can get a few extra on his dribbling. I'm not sure how much more he can do because I wouldn't want to take much away from anywhere else really. He's not that high in any of his other attributes. As much as I do like this guy, I want to be objective. From my personal perspective, it's nice for me personally to see a featured Azmoun because I like the player. But in terms of recommending him to others, I do think he's going to be decent. I think if you like a goal poacher, one who's going to be there in the right place at the right time, taking up good positions to finish chances, and one who's going to be good from crosses, I think that's what he's good at. But outside of that, I don't think this is actually an amazing card. So depends on the kind of striker you like. But like I say, if you like a guy who's got that kind of, he's got the attributes and the strengths of a target man, but he's got a goal poacher playing style, that's kind of what you're looking at. But he's just kind of an all-rounder type of a goal poacher who's just good in the air. So yeah, if that suits you, if you like a striker like that, then he could be good for you. But on the whole, if I'm being really brutally honest about this, I think it's a pretty average card. It's nothing special. And we have Carlos Augusto from Inter. So we've got a left back, and to be honest, it's much like the other fullbacks we've been looking at in the English and Spanish league packs. He's got great pace and stamina, but outside of that, he's pretty average, to be honest. There's nothing amazing here. Defensively, he's okay. Obviously, like I say, the pace is very, very good. The stamina is outstanding at 96. Physical contact 77 is good for a fullback. Then down the left here, there's two that stand out. Tight possession 68, low pass 70. That's horrible. You're really going to notice that. I've had a couple of players, I remember getting, I think it was Estepinian from Player of the Week once, the Brighton left back, and his tight possession was about the same as this, and you really noticed it. It was horrible. The low pass as well, though, at 70, you don't want to be giving the ball away in defensive areas. So a couple of areas of concern there. In terms of reallocating points, trying to kind of even things out a bit, you could take some off his lower body. He's still going to be quick enough and have great stamina. You don't need as much much physical contact as that. I'm going to take a bit of that away, and that frees up enough points to boost his passing and his dribbling there. So personally, I would do that. I think then you're making him a lot more competent on the ball. Even then, tight possession and low pass still aren't great, so got to keep those in mind. Looking at the skill set, what's interesting with this guy, quite similar to Luca Dean actually in the Premier League back, heading and aerial superiority. So he's a guy who's 6 foot tall. He's got heading and aerial superiority, jumping and physical contact. After I've just taken some aerial points away, 73. With the auto allocation, 77. So this guy for a fullback is going to be pretty decent in the air, which is quite uncommon. He's got pinpoint crossing, so going forward with 80 lofted passes, crossing will be okay. It won't be brilliant. It's not got much curl, so it's going to have okay crossing, but nothing amazing. But then the rest of the skills, fighting spirit, sliding tackle, okay, but where's interception? Again, it's a crucial skill for a defender and for a fullback. More so for a centre-back, but even for a fullback, you really need interception. There's no blocker, no man marking, but interception, the one for me that's really missing there. So ultimately, sure, with the lower body, his speed, his stamina looking very good, defensively okay, but with the tight possession and low pass being very low, the lack of interception skill. Also bear in mind, this guy's a fullback finisher, so fullback finisher is going to roam forward quite a bit. He's going to get up into the midfield and want to get involved in the build-up. If you don't want your fullbacks vacating their position, that's something to be concerned with. I personally don't like this playing style, but it's personal preference. You might like that, but yeah, as I say, on the whole, it's another fullback who's pretty average on the whole, but with interception lacking from his skills, albeit you can put interception on him if you've got the skill trainers. But that with the tight possession and low pass being a bit low and the fact that there's nothing particularly outstanding about him, I think it's a pretty underwhelming fullback, to be honest. Then we have Pessina from Monza. So we've got the first of two centre midfielder whole players. So he's got the whole player playing style. That will be active centre mid and attacking mid. So with the auto allocation, he can play centre mid. The defensives here, they're not too bad. They're not brilliant. He's certainly not a defensively strong player, but he's competent. His main strengths clearly are going forward. On the ball, he's tidy. He's not going to be an amazing dribbler, but he's tidy enough there. And with ball control 89 especially, he's fairly tidy on the ball. He's pretty sound. Passing is very nice. 91 low pass is excellent. Offensive awareness is okay. Pace is alright. It's pretty average for a midfielder. Down here, physical contact for an attacking midfielder is alright. For a centre midfielder, pretty average. Could be a bit higher. Balance, not brilliant. Stamina's okay at 84. It's not brilliant, but especially with the whole player playing style, whole players will be making a lot of runs forward, and then especially if he's a centre mid, he'll be making runs backwards afterwards to get back into position. So he will get tired with 84 stamina. With those three positions, I don't think you can make him strong enough defensively to play as a defensive midfielder. He doesn't have interception or any real defensive skills, so I think you can rule out defensive mid. Centre midfield, I think this is roughly how you'd build him. You could maybe take a few away from passing. You don't need that much on his passing. You could stick them on maybe a bit on defensive, I guess. He's still not going to be brilliant defensively. A bit on aerial, maybe. I think as a centre mid, obviously with the whole player playing style, he's going to be a very offensive-minded centre mid, and he'll be a tidy one. Not an amazing one, but a tidy one. Looking at the rest of his skills down here, obviously, like I say, he doesn't have the defensive skills. He does have first time shot, one touch pass, probably those the most important ones that he's got. Super sub is nice, always nice to have a super sub, but no through passing. So he's lacking interception and anything defensive, but he's also lacking through passing, which is a bit of a shame. His passing will be nice though, one touch pass and weighted pass, and obviously his low pass with the auto allocation was 91. Even if I take a few away, still on 88, and with a decent game plan boost, that hits 90. So he's got nice passing, but it would be nice if he had that through passing skill though. First time shot's a nice one for a whole player, especially if you're playing with an attacking midfield. That's the other position we need to look at. If you're playing as an attacking midfielder, first time shot is a nice skill to have. So if we look at him for that position, you take away all these defensive and aerial points. That's freed us up with 19 points, which is great. So get his dexterity up, get his offensive awareness up to 80, which is great. We've got 11 points still. What we're going to do? Maybe a couple more on dexterity, to be honest. We'll get his acceleration to the 80 mark. And if we get his bounce up to 78 with the game plan boost, that'll hit 80. Bounce is quite an important one for attacking midfielders. Offensive awareness into the 80s, which goes perfectly with his whole player playing style. Still 5 points left. Where we're going to put those? Put it on dribbling, to be honest, and 2 left. And we'll use those to get his finishing into the 70s. I think that's what I'll do for attacking midfield. I think you can see quite clearly that of his 3 positions, depending how you train him, I think the most effective you can make this guy is as an attacking midfielder. So I've improved him on the ball. Most importantly, the offensive awareness, the balance, bit more pace about him, still got good passing, finishing past the 70 mark. I think as an attacking midfielder, that's where you get the most value out of this card. I still don't think it's a particularly amazing card. I would like a bit more balance. I would like it to be a bit better at dribbling, and as I say with the skills, I would like interception on there, and it'd be nice if he had maybe his long range shooting as well. With through passing is what he's lacking. I would like him to have through passing and maybe his long range shooting. You can put skills on these cards, so if you're going to get this guy and use him a lot, I would recommend using skill trainers, trying to get especially through passing on him. If you do that with this kind of a build, I think the most value you get out of this card would be as an attack midfielder, and he wouldn't necessarily be a top level one or an amazing one, but I think a pretty solid one. So yeah, depending how you use him, not a bad card. And then our other whole player centre mid, we've got Elmas from Napoli. So this guy is good at dribbling. I don't think you're going to use him as a centre midfielder. You can see straight away he's not strong defensively. Quick glance down at the skills, there's nothing defensive. This guy's a very offensive-minded midfielder. He's not going to be defending for you, so forget about centre midfield. Take these 4 points away from defending. It's not a lot that we've got to reallocate, but still, we'll put them on balance, I think. I don't think I'll do an awful lot else with him. The only one thing I'm looking at there with the attributes, obviously he's good on the ball, he can dribble, he's got good passing, decent pace, balance and stamina, okay. Again, the stamina's the same as Pessina's. He will get tired as a whole player with 84 stamina. It's not disastrously bad, but something to keep an eye on. I'm just looking at the offensive awareness. With the game plan boost, he'll get 2 on that. It would be nice if we could hit the 80 mark. I'm not sure where I'd take a point away from, to be honest. You could nick one from passing maybe, but if you do that, then you won't hit 90 in the game plan for low pass. Maybe low body. Just nice to get everything to the 80 mark, isn't it? So you do that, hit that game plan preview. So you get 80 for the offensive awareness, you get 90 tight possession, 90 low pass. Lovely. So yeah, he's very technically sound, Elmas. I've got a very similar version I got from a previous, I think it was another Italian league pack, to be honest. And he's pretty nice. He's neat on the ball. The dribblers who like their skill moves, they like to dribble past defenders, will probably like this guy. He's got a few skill moves. He's good at dribbling. He's got soul control as well. He's got a one-touch pass. Again, like with Pessina, no through passing. Bit of a shame for an attacking midfielder. You want through passing, really. He does have nice passing, but if you're going to get this guy and use him, I think it's worth trying to put through passing on him. You might also want to put maybe his long range shooting on him. You can use this guy out wide. On the right, he's got a pretty decent lofted pass at 86. He doesn't have pinpoint crossing. You could make him a pretty effective right winger if you put pinpoint crossing on him, to be honest. If you like that type of winger, that could be well worth doing that. Could be very effective that way. Wide left, I think same situation, but I think you'd want to put long range drive on him because he's a right footer. You put him on the left, he's got decent pace, he's got very good dribbling and passing. If you put long range drive on him from the left flank, coming inside onto his right foot, that could make him very effective from the left. So yeah, on the whole, he's a pretty good player. I think whichever way you use him, whether it's wide left, wide right, or through the middle, there's one or two skills lacking that you're probably going to want to put on him if you're going to end up using him a lot. Like I say, long range drive, pinpoint crossing. I think especially through passing would be well worth putting one or two of those skills on him to really make the most of him. But if you do that, and even if you don't do that, to be honest, he's a pretty tidy player. So yeah, not an amazing player. He's not that kind of top level, but I think he's a pretty good one. I think if you really want to get the most out of him, though, like I say, there's one or two skills you want to put on him, though. But if you do that, it could be a very good card to pick up. Then we have Lookman. We've got another hole player. This guy does not want to play in the midfield, though. A very attacking player, Lookman. He wants to play wide left, wide right, or he can play through the middle as an SS or as a striker. So I'm going to look at all those positions because he can play them all. I will start with striker. So as a striker, if you want to play him right up front as a striker, with the auto allocation, I don't think the awareness or finishing high enough. But if he's a centre forward, he doesn't need to be as good at dribbling. You take those points away. What else can we take away? He doesn't need as much passing as a centre forward. Get the finishing up to 85. What else can we do? Take a bit of speed away as well. That'll probably do it, won't it? Yeah, something like that. You've got one left. Stick that back on passing, I guess. So you could make him a centre forward. Offensive awareness now and finishing are both kind of, not a lot higher, but I think it's certainly more acceptable as a striker. They're not brilliant, but you could get away with it. With the pace that he's got, he's very responsive with the acceleration, good balance, pretty tidy on the ball for a centre forward. Low pass is decent for a centre forward. With all these attributes, I think as a centre forward, he could do a job for you, especially with that super sub skill that he's got. But you would need to put the first time shot skill on him. As a centre forward, you need first time shot. It's crucial. So if you're going to use him as a centre forward, you would need that. But he's got other positions he can play. Just looking at the skills quickly first, he's got some nice skill moves there if you like your dribbling. He's going to be nice on the ball, soul control as well. Long range drive, long range shooting, through passing. So in terms of end product, those are the three skills he's got. It'd be nice if he had one touch pass. And likewise, like I say, first time shot would be good. But he's got some shooting skills. He's got through passing as well, which is nice. So looking at the other positions he can play, SS, if we go back to the auto allocation, I think the auto allocation is pretty good for SS. Personally, I would take a bit off his shooting. I don't think his shooting needs to be that high. I would take maybe his 4 off there. And then I'd probably put them on passing. Yeah, I'd probably do that. And then you've got one you can put on his speed, get speed up to 90. I think as an SS, that's the way I'd probably build him. And I think using him out wide, certainly wide left, I'd do this pretty much the same build. So great pace, good balance, very nice on the ball, good offensive awareness. And then with the passing and the finishing, not outstanding, but he does have long range drive and long range shooting. So his shooting should be decent. The game plan boost will take his low pass and finishing to the 80 mark, which is good. Yeah, I think as an SS, pretty tidy, especially as a super sub. Good pace, good on the ball, could cause problems, got a bit of end product. Like I say, one touch pass and first time shot would be nice skills to add. But he does have end product, he's decent. Playing him out wide on the right, I don't think his lofted pass is high enough. You could play him there, he doesn't have pinpoint crossing, so as a kind of orthodox right winger, I don't think he's going to be brilliant. He's not going to be great at getting down the line, putting great crosses in, but certainly coming inside. Could do a job coming off the right flank. No outside curler though. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's more of a wide left guy. Playing in wide left, does have long range drive. The finishing and curler are reasonable. They're not brilliant, but they're okay. If you play this guy on the left, with his pace, the balance, being good on the ball, good offensive awareness, he'll get into good positions. His long range curler will be decent. So yeah, I think most effective this guy playing wide left or playing as an SS. That whole player playing style will be active as a left midfielder or as an SS or a right midfielder. He won't be active playing as a centre forward or as a wide forward. So I think as a wide left forward, he'd probably be playing mostly like a prolific winger. I think it'd be pretty effective there. Left midfield, the whole player playing style will be very nice, making good runs into spaces. But yeah, with the attributes he's got and the skills he's got, I think coming off the left flank could be very effective. SS, I think, equally effective. You might want to put one touch pass or the first time shot on him, but with the skills and attributes he's got, especially as a super sub, he's versatile. He could be pretty dangerous. I think it could be a decent card to pick up, this one. Quite like the look of it. Then we have Romagnoli. our other centre-back. So this one's pretty straightforward, to be honest. He's just a good, solid centre-back. He's not amazing, but looking down the middle, he's pretty strong defensively. Pace isn't brilliant. That's probably the one area where he's a little bit weak. The jumping and physical are okay. They're not brilliant, but they're fine. They're high enough. Down the left, he's okay for a centre-back. The passing looks pretty decent. Looking at the skills, he's not got many skills, but the ones he's got are the important ones. He's got heading and aerial superiority, so he's good in the air. 85 physical, 87 jump, and he's about 6'1", so he should be pretty good in the air. And then the other skills he's got: man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance, blocker. All the important ones really for a centre-back. Maybe you'd like sliding tackle as well, but I think that's probably less important than the ones he's got. The ones he's got, I think, are the most important ones for a centre-back. So he's got a good, strong selection of skills, pretty strong defensively. Physically and aerially, I think he's pretty reasonably strong. It's just that pace. If you play a high defensive line, if you're worried about through balls getting in behind your centre-backs, that might be a concern for you. It's a slight concern for me. But if you're not too worried about the pace, I think that'd be okay. And on the whole, like I say, strong centre-back and build-up playing style as well. For me personally, that's my favourite playing style for a centre-back. That just means he'll stay back. He won't start charging forward like a destroyer, especially like an extra front man. So yeah, build-up centre-back, pretty strong all round. Not the quickest. That's the one thing to keep in mind. But outside of that, it's just a good, strong centre-back card, to be honest. Then we have Orsolini. So this is an interesting one. Orsolini, you can play as a forward on the left or the right. You can play as an SS just off the attack. You can also play right midfield as a prolific winger. That play style will be active down the right-hand side or left. Won't be active as an SS. He's an interesting one because you look at the attributes. He's not amazing, but he looks like he's basically going to be a bit of a dribbler. Good on the ball. Pretty good pace. Decent balance. Offensive awareness is very good. For a guy who doesn't play as a centre forward, he's either a winger or an SS. That's very good offensive awareness. The concern is there. Low pass 68. Doesn't matter where you play a guy. Low pass is important, and that's a bit scary. You don't want to be giving the ball away. Lofted pass is not brilliant, but it's better than low pass. Finishing 77's alright. Looking down the skills Orsolini's got. So he's got double touch and flip-flap. Dribblers are like that. But in terms of end product, long range drive, long range shooting. He's got pinpoint crossing as well. Outside curl is a nice one. But especially those two shooting skills and pinpoint crossing. So how are you going to get the most of this guy? Where's he going to be best? So with pinpoint crossing, playing as a wide left forward, this guy is left-footed. So wide left, you're thinking, okay, he's going to be wide left, putting crosses in on his left foot. Is his crossing going to be good? I'm not really sure. 74 lofted pass is not brilliant. I personally would be looking at maybe rebuilding this guy a little bit to make the most of his skills and give him a bit more end product. You could take one off his dribbling there. You could, what else are we going to take away? We could take a bit of his dexterity away. I do like balance on a player. I don't like to take too much pace away from a guy, but you really got to look at this guy's strengths and think how you're going to make the most of him. He's about 6 foot tall. Keep that in mind. So he's not going to be the most nimble and responsive. He looks like he's going to be very good on the ball with his dribbling and so on. And technically he will be. But for a tall player, 83 kilograms as well, he might not be as kind of fluid and maneuverable as you expect him to be. Just keep that in mind. I've not used him on eFootball, I don't think, but I had him on pairs in the My Club days when he was a youngster coming through, and he was good, but you did notice that height. He wasn't like the kind of the 170 centimeter guys who are nimble and very nippy and responsive. He felt a little bit less maneuverable, so something to keep in mind. But yeah, let's just see how high can we get his passing there. Could we get one more on finishing? Take another one away from dexterity. So he's still over 80 for his acceleration, balance, and offensive awareness. And then we can get his finishing up to 78. Got 1 point spare. Stick on his aerial. He's got decent physical contact actually for a winger on attacking midfielder. So 6 feet tall, decent physique, decent physical contact as well. Balance over 80. That's interesting, that. And he's got pretty good pace still. But now you see with his end product, lofted pass 78, finishing 78. That magic game plan boost gets him to 80 for both lofted pass and finishing and dribbling with this build. So I think this is definitely the way I build him. So if you put him on the left, he still won't have amazing crossing, but with pinpoint crossing and the fact that the game plan will make his lofted pass and curl 80, he should have a decent cross on him. So wide left is viable. But I think especially through the middle now, if you focus on his shooting, but even more so on the right, the fact he's got long range shooting, he's got a decent finishing on him, but he's got long range curl as well. He's got a long range curler, and the game plan making his finishing and his curl 80, cutting in from the left hand side onto his left foot, he should have a pretty deadly long range curler on him. I think that's the way this guy's going to be most effective. So decent pace, decent balance. It's going to be good on the ball. A bit more in product now though. And if you don't work an opportunity for a long range curler or a shot, you can put a cross in as well from the right hand side, and in swinger maybes, and good offensive awareness as well. So we'll get into good positions. So this isn't an amazing card. There aren't many attributes here that really stand out, but I think he could be a pretty tidy one. I think, like I say, he can do a job on the left, could do a job SS. I think he could be pretty good SS if you focus on his shooting and not his passing, because like I say, his low pass is poor. But I think wide right is going to be where he's best. If you cut inside onto that left foot of his, he's tidy on the ball, but I think he could have a pretty effective left foot, could get some goals for you. So yeah, not an amazing card, but I think it could be a pretty effective one. It's a pretty decent card, that. Then we've got Artur. So this one, I think a lot of people might sleep on this guy. They might see him and think he's not going to be the best card because he's kind of fallen off a bit since he moved to Barca a few years back. But as you can see here, he's got some strengths. This is actually a decent card. So he can play defensive mid or centre mid. What I'm going to do first, I'll show you how you can build him to be a DMF. So you could use him with this build as a DMF, and he'd be like a kind of, almost like a Xavi type of player, you know, and obviously not anywhere near as good as Xavi, but focusing on his strengths, very good on the ball, amazing passing, bit of defensive competence, he's small, he's responsive. Playing a defensive midfield as a deep line playmaker could be very effective. Looking down at the skill set, soul control, long range shooting, I don't think you're going to shoot very often with this guy, but one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, low lofted pass, he's got fantastic passing. The skills and the attributes match up. He's got interception as well though, so you could play him as a defensive mid. If you look at how high some of these attributes are on the left, you could take a whole load off his passing if you were going to use him as a defensive midfielder, this is, and have him focusing more on defensive work, because we'll do a more offensive build in a moment, but get the defensive right up, 80 plus on all his defensives, give him some aerial strength as well, get that right up. Another one on the low body, give him a bit more stamina, and then we've got one more left, we'll stick that on passing. So you see here, if you play him as a defensive midfielder and you want to give him some defensive responsibility, you can actually make him fairly strong defensively. That physical contact game plan boost takes that to 70, as you see there, and he'll still have good balance, average pace, good kicking power. Stamina's okay for defensive mid. Bear in mind, orchestrated play style. He's not going to be making a lot of runs forward. He's going to just loiter around, stay quite deep. He wants to play make from deep, so he shouldn't get too tired. That stamina should be okay at 85. Defensively pretty strong. Pretty good on the ball for a defensive midfielder. He's good on the ball and really good passing. So for me personally, if you're going to play him as a defensive midfielder, I think that's the kind of build I'll go for, because he's got a bit of everything. He can defend. So I think that could be, as a defensive midfielder, could be a really good card. But as a centre midfielder orchestrator, we just go back to the beginning. As you saw there initially, fantastic passing, good on the ball. You could maybe take a bit off his defending just to show you the kind of the other extreme. So if you weren't too bothered about defending, you're going to play him as a centre mid. You've got one or two other midfielders behind him doing the defensive work. Keep in mind, with that orchestrated playing style, he won't be making many attacking runs. So if you do play him as a centre midfielder with one or two midfielders behind him, just think about whether you've got an attacking midfielder there on SS. Think about that space between your midfield and your attack, because you don't want too much of a space between the midfield and the attack. You've got to be linking them up somehow, so keep that in mind. But if you do play him as a centre mid and you're not worried about the defensive responsibilities, take those points away like I have done from defending. What we're going to do, give him a bit more stamina. You could easily take some off the passing. I'm looking at the offensive awareness, that's the concern. I don't want that being below 70, so we'll whack a load on there. Get up to the 70 mark. Got 6 points still. 7, because he's not going to be shooting much. You can't really make his shooting any good. Give him a bit more dribbling, why not? I think that would do it for me. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd do, I think. Maybe, I'm just thinking, could you get the kicking power to 88, then the game plan take it to 90. Let's take another up passing. Why not? There. So that's what you could do if you wanted to go all in on the offensive strengths he's got. The fact he's brilliant at passing, he can create chances, he's really good on the ball. Hit that game plan boost preview as well if you've got a good manager. Lovely jubbly. So the offensive awareness into the 70s. On the ball and with his passing, fantastic. Really, really good. Defensive's okay as well. Like I say, he's defensively competent still, even taking that defending right the way down to 4. Pace is now half decent, not brilliant, but pretty average now for a midfielder. Kicking power 90, balance 91, good stamina 87. Whatever way you build this guy, I think this is a really good card actually. you've got the option of making him a defensively sound DMF. You could have him playing DMF where he's defensively pretty strong, but he's really good on the ball and got good passing as well. Or you could do more offensive build like I've just done here and have him as a centre mid and just focus on his ability to create chances and that fantastic passing. I think this is a really good card, to be honest. I think you've got 2 ways you can use him. And I think he's probably a lot better than some people realise. So yeah, for me, this is one of the better cards in this pack. I think it's a really strong one. And then we finish up with our other striker, Vlahović. So pretty obvious where the strengths are with this guy. Awareness and finishing. He's a goal scorer. He's got the goal poacher playing style. Got a decent amount of pace about him as well. Physically strong, 84 physical contact. He's about 6'3". He's a big, strong boy. Similar to Hoyland when we looked at the Premier League pack the other day. It's a bit frustrating for me that you've got a guy who's tall and he's strong, but he's not got anything to make him good in the air really. Jumping only 70, no heading, no aerial superiority. Bit of a shame. You could still put heading and aerial superiority on him. Maybe his acrobatic finishing as well, make him even better from crosses. But that jumping just holds him back a bit. It's a bit frustrating when you've got that physique, you know, the physical attributes he's got. But with that being said, when you look at what he's good at as a goal scorer, as a goal poacher, first time shot, long range drive, those are the important ones. The awareness and finishing, like I say, are fantastic. The concern for me is he's a little bit dodgy on the ball. As a guy, especially as a guy who's quite tall, he's not got brilliant balance. I'll be a little bit concerned about how good he is when you receive the ball with him. If you receive the ball with this guy and you hold on for it too long, he could be in trouble. So I'm just thinking, okay, is it worth trying a little bit of a rebuild on this guy and making him a bit better on the ball? You could quite easily, again, if you're assuming you've got a good enough manager to get their game plan boost of +2, you could take 2 off his shooting and his dexterity, and you're still going to hit 90 for finishing and awareness when you get the game plan boost. That gives us 12 points. So likewise over here, you still hit 70 for jumping and you'd be 80 plus for physical, even if you take a couple away with the game plan boost coming into play. So I'm taking 2 away from there as well. And now we've got 14 points. Dribbling, we can now get up to here. We've got 3 points spare. I'm going to stick them on passing because his passing is not great. I do think passing is quite important on a striker. It's difficult to allocate too many points if he's not got high passing initially, because you want those points on the important things like the awareness and finishing. But you do need passing on a striker. You do need to be that as high as you can reasonably get it. But I think, yeah, I think it's worth putting a few on passing there if we've got those spare. But as I say, with the technicals here, if you hit that game plan boost, still getting 90 for offensive awareness and finishing and kicking power. Still got very decent pace. Still very strong with the physical contact. Stamina is pretty decent for a striker. But we've now got him 80 plus on all these technicals here. So on the ball now, he's going to be a lot more comfortable. And I'll feel a lot more comfortable now feeding the ball into his feet and holding onto the ball, taking a couple of touches before the pass is on to lay it off to another striker or a midfielder. So yeah, ultimately, like I say, it's a bit frustrating. You've got a guy who's big, tall and strong, but you can't really make him that great in the air. But with the attributes he's got, decent pace, physically strong, and with the awareness and the finishing as a goal poacher, can be very effective as a goal scorer for you. You give him the supply, you feed the through balls into him, you give him the service, he's going to get goals for you. So yeah, ultimately it's a good centre forward card, that. So on the whole there, I think that's a decent pack. I'd say it's pretty similar to the English pack, the Premier League pack. I think you've got a bunch of players in there who'd be very decent. Out of the 3 packs, I think the Spanish League pack is the most disappointing for me. There's only 2 really good players in there. With this one, as we just looked at a moment ago, I think Artur is a really good card. Probably better than some people realise. Orsolini could be an effective one coming off the right-hand side. Could have very good shooting. Romagnoli is a solid centre-back. Elmas, versatile. Pretty tidy player. I think he's going to be very good on the ball. I think Lookman's a very handy one. Again, versatile, whole player. Super sub as well. I think he's a decent one. Then Vlahović is a good, solid striker. So, yeah, there's some decent ones in there. 1 or 2 not so great, but I think there's some good ones in there. On the whole, I think it's a decent pack. So, yeah, hopefully you found that useful. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you soon.